Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. So that really was a performance, having said this wasn't a performance, but well done, both of you. I think one of the interesting things about this music in particular, shall I sit down, we can see we're on the same level, is the fact that it's Beethoven, not Mozart. You know, it's Beethoven doing one of his most favorite things, which is to write variations. He adored writing variations. There are so many occasions when, and obviously the stimulus for writing variations was just the idea of taking something and looking at it from so many different perspectives, and for, you know, being pushed to be creative rather than just following a line and developing an idea as he would normally do. It's just like taking a short idea and just trying to find all these different ways of approaching it. And he's done that so succinctly in this case. And at the same time, it's Mozart, it's operatic, it's beautiful, but it has, I think, the power and the beauty and power that Beethoven represents, not just Mozart. And the thing that Beethoven did in such a new way was really to push the boundaries and to do things in a way that had never been done before. So he was obsessed with power and beauty. And there were these two spheres, and the power, which was enormous and could be brilliant and dramatic, and also this obsession with beauty in the other sphere, which was absolutely heartfelt, heartbreaking, really, really pure and utterly amazing beauty. But these spheres kind of cross over as well, so that you have within this enormous power sometimes absolute beauty in the power, and sometimes in the beauty would be enormous strength, enormous power. And so he very often wrote very simple indications of something in piano which had to hold, in my view, really an enormous sense of power. Then he would write piano espressivo, piano dolce, all the reasons to extend the piano into something more beautiful, more expressive. But very often the piano was holding enormous strength, because if you think of Beethoven, how we imagine him, what we know about him, he was a hugely powerful person. He was fascinated. For instance, he befriended somebody to try to make him a more powerful piano, a piano that would be more powerful and more lyrical than had been made before. So he was breaking boundaries all the time. And the way he writes music is so often dramatic in that he writes pianos which are suddenly interrupted by a forte. Whereas before that, it would have been natural to kind of build up, have a crescendo to that point. Beethoven was like, no, I'm going to show you my power by being dramatic in this way. And then he would do the opposite. He wrote more extreme dynamics in simple sections than we'd ever seen before. He wanted to write piano music that only he could play, that nobody else was capable of playing. He needed to show his prowess, his strength, his power again. So even in this set of what appeared to be, simple variations, which are by no means simple, are they? And surprisingly, of course, incredibly difficult to play, because you also don't get much chance to warm up and to get involved technically and in the instrument. Suddenly you have to stop and change the whole picture. And that's much more difficult, it's more challenging for the musicians than you would imagine, than just to keep going and play an entire movement, breathe and play the next movement as in a normal Beethoven sonata. So we have a lot of different challenges, and sometimes for the musicians that challenge is also that we try so hard to do so much in a short time that we perhaps overstate, we overplay the music. And I feel a little bit that was my reaction, my first reaction to your playing, was that you are, obviously wanting to make the most of it, but somehow making the most of each section, each variation, also slightly bypasses the idea that, that is just supposed to be that one entity, and then you're supposed to do something completely different. And within each variation, there is a kind of atmosphere, a world in itself that has to remain. We use this expression, a sound world. Well, maybe that's what I mean, that there's a character and a personality in that variation that should not infringe on another variation. You should not bring other things in. And that means sometimes not saying too much. And that's not our instinct. Our instinct is to say as much as possible. I'd like to start again and just to work in that way a little bit, to understand, what is we have to say when and what we shouldn't say. Because Beethoven was amazingly pure and economical with his ideas. I mean, that is so obvious to the musicians. It's powerful because he only says what's necessary. He never fills up the space. And we have to take that attitude. I often say with Beethoven, try to imagine you are Beethoven when you play Beethoven. It really helps. It's not the same with other composers. You don't have to pretend to be Brahms. You just get involved in Brahms. Musicians love to play Brahms because we can use all our emotions in a kind of unbounded way. Beethoven, we are bound by being Beethoven and how he wants to present himself. And it's nothing to do with us. It's only to do with Beethoven. I think that is why he is such a toweringly great genius master of composition, is because he is in there every millisecond of the music. It's Beethoven. And we are nothing. We are literally nothing compared to that genius. So we have to just try to be him as much as we possibly can. Now that's a general statement. So of course now we have to work on how we can achieve some of those things. You're both playing really, really well. There's a lot of things that you're saying about the music, which is great. But of course, it's a journey. We're just, you're at the start of your journey, and hopefully I am too. When I come back to Beethoven Variations, I have to look at it again as though it's all new ideas, of course, because the space above me, between me and Beethoven, is so enormous that I've just got to explore it some more. So that's the fascination, and I guess that's the fascination of why you're here, because you also want to know what's going on and how we deal with these things. So, would you mind just reminding me what your first statement was? Please play the beginning one more time. Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I'll just get my cello, because sometimes it's quicker to explain things just by playing, isn't it? The first thing is, of course, you have, like, the curtain opens for the opera, and your first moment to present something there are a lot of reasons for why you have to play this first note. You're introducing the key of E flat, and E flat major, which is, a very rich key, isn't it? I mean, it has a lot of depth to it, but it's not too dark, it's not too bright. It's a favorite key of Mozart as well. But first of all, the fact that you play just a chord is like, wow. So this feeling has to feel as though you have a big statement to make. This is the beginning of the opera. So it needs to be in that way the conductor would give. And we're explaining this to the audience. We're not just playing, here's a note. We're playing a lot more than that. I mean, it could be, then it would be something dramatic, but it's not dramatic in that way. It's a big announcement. It's be quiet, everybody, something important is going to happen. And I think as a performer, you also need to show that. You need to say, you need to show your strength and show Beethoven already from the very start. So both of you together need to create this drama, because there is this drama of an opening, and it's just one chord after all. Can you start by doing that? Okay, so because, you know, for those of you who were here the other day, you'll know that I'm obsessive about details, because I think the details are, you know, the backbone of what happens in the overall impression. When you play with this kind of diminuendo, this kind of leaving the sound, my impression, my first impression, as somebody who doesn't play the cello, doesn't go to concerts normally, I just have this impression now. This is very, very good, but now this is a question. What's happening? Why did you make such a statement and then you back off from your statement? Now, I don't think he writes diminuendo in the music. So I think you have to say, yes. That's your note, and this is where it finishes. Because otherwise, I'm left, well, this is my reaction, I'm left just wondering what's going to happen. And I think your statement has to be stronger than that. So you need a beginning, a middle, and an end. Okay, one more time, but show us the end, show us a little. Just because, you know, what we're doing is we're learning. When we're learning, exaggeration is the fastest way to learn. The fastest way is to discover what you can do, what your potential is to do, whether that is too much, whether it's too little, whether you have to change it. But without exaggeration, you don't make discoveries in the same way. Try something very strong. Okay, so what do you think about that?
Same impression.
Okay, so is it, let's just be very simple. Do you like it or do you not like it?
It's getting better.
Okay, do you like it or do you not like it?
I quite like it.
You quite like it. What do you not like about it? Because it's easy.
The sound is a little bit the same all the way through, perhaps.
Okay, so it was too flat for you in that way. All right, good. If you find out what you don't like, that rules that out so quickly. So you don't do that anymore, okay? So what do you do?
Well, like you said, the three parts, the beginning, middle, and end. Perhaps I can do something in the middle.
Okay, try something now. Try. Whatever you like, try something. And your thoughts?
Not the best. Try.
Okay, try something else, try something else, try something else. Okay. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, you prefer it? Why do you prefer it?
It's got a little bit more meaning. Somehow.
What was the meaning for you there?
It's a little bit more satisfying ending.
Okay, the ending was more satisfying. Okay, all right.
In contrast to the...
All right, can you try something completely different now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, quickly, what's your reaction to that?
Not as bold as it could be.
Okay, good. Try again. All right. We could spend a long time doing this, for sure. No, and this is what happens when you sit in your practice room. I have to tell you that story about Pablo Casal's who was visited by his friend Misha Schneider, came to visit him and to give some concerts in Puerto Rico. So he stayed at Casals' house, and he got up very early in the morning because he had rehearsals all day and a concert, and he heard Pablo. And he thought, oh, well, I won't interrupt him because he's busy. So he went off, spent the day rehearsing, did the concert, which was probably, 10 o'clock at night, finished the concert, came back to the house, and as he walked up the front door, and he said, I thought, I can't not say anything at all. So he went in and he said, Maestro, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but, have you been playing all day and just the beginning of this suite? And he said, yes, I'm still searching. And he was probably about 90 years old when this happened. And he'd been playing Bach since he discovered it, age 10 or whatever it was. He's still searching. We have to search all the time. So if you're playing or whatever it is, it still has to be searched. It still has to be that you know why you're saying it. Because if you just play and there's a big question mark, then your announcement to say, I'm not sure what I'm going to say. That's what the message is to the audience. And of course, they've come to hear what you have to say. So if you take out that first moment and say, actually, I haven't a clue what I'm going to say to you, that's not good. That's not a very good start. So it's very important that why would it be such an important chord? Because it's the opening statement. It's setting the whole scene. Okay, so you're welcome to continue searching as long as you like. But the important thing for you is to know why you're playing it and what it is that you would like to say. So it can be, and if you're reasonably pleased with that because you feel it's saying something, you're welcome to go on because, we do need to hear the rest of the music. But you need at least to come to some temporary conclusion about what it is you want to say. And it's fine, like Casals, it's fine for you to start the next day and say, you know what, I'm not quite sure. I mean, the number of times I wake up in the middle of the night and think, perhaps I don't even wake up, it's somehow in my mind, in the middle of the night, I'm thinking, no, you know what? That's just not quite the right sense of movement in the phrase. I need to change that. Because we are looking for something more. So, okay, let's conclude something for now and continue. But most importantly, you need to bring everybody with you. Yeah? So let's start with and then continue, please. Okay, good. It's very nice what you're doing. But we are here, obviously, to find out what you can do more. My first thoughts are 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, like this. My sense of pulse, my sense of the movement in the music is per note. Dum, ba, dum, bum, be, dum. And I'm not sure that I feel movement. I feel too much, vertical sense of the music, and not some kind of natural flow. It feels vertical to me. You can change that in whichever way you feel you can, but at the moment it feels a little bit to me that way. That's my first instinctive reaction to what's happening. The next instinctive reaction is a very human one, which is I'm thinking about you and not enough about the music. And the reason I say that is because you're making me think about what you're thinking, or what I might be guessing you're thinking, rather than producing a sound which is saying, this is the kind of character I want you to hear. Beethoven. Go back to Beethoven. Is Beethoven nice and easy and light? No. Beethoven had a heavier voice than that. Even if he's imitating Mozart, there's something more powerful, I think, in Beethoven. You can play powerfully, beautifully, softly, but it still has to be like that to me. If it's too like this, it's too Mozart. I think somehow you have to be Beethoven right from that point. Do you understand what I mean? There's an inner strength with the kind of sound you make. It's like I have to talk to you like this rather than talk to you like this. The music is beautiful. It's beautiful anyway, but you have to be a bit more, you have to be strong with what you say. So if you want to play more beautifully, you can play more beautifully, but try to be strong at the same time. Good. I prefer that in one sense. I prefer it because I feel you are making a statement now. You're showing something. My next question is, of course, he's short on his piano by about 9 feet. So, but his line is the line we should be listening to, and then it comes you now, doesn't it? Yeah. But you have to play that secondary role. You have to be supportive. Admittedly, he needs a bigger piano. But you still have to just play underneath him with that strength, but play underneath him so that you are the obligato line, not the main voice. Right from here. Okay, good. The simple technical ways, we have a fundamental technical thing with the way the instrument works. The more the string moves, the more sound you have. It's as simple as that. On the piano, you put more weight into the key, the hammer knocks the string more, and the string resonates more. The more it resonates, the more sound, the more air moves, the more sound we have. The less it moves, the less sound we have. So what that means in terms of bowing, the more bow, the faster you move, the more sound you have. Less bow is less sound. And the weight that you use is the control of the character of the sound. So when you're playing with weight, you get a serious sound. If you use less weight, you get a lighter sound, yeah? The volume is not very different unless I change how much I'm moving the string. So in order to play underneath him, but still to be strong, you need to use your weight for the character, but very little movement for sound. Can you try that? Okay, one more time. One more time, but use really about 1/10 of the amount of bows of that. Just really don't even think about moving, really. Just think about him and being very, very calm. Because if you're calm, if you're moving, if you're not calm in yourself, it will start to balloon out. So your role is to be calm and let him be expressive in that way, but to control your movement. Very nice, very nice. Do you feel, you know, the thing is, when we're learning, what we're trying to do is we're trying to discover a feeling. We have to know what we're thinking, but we all have to know what the feeling is, because when we really understand the feeling of playing and the feeling of the music, it's so easy to remember. Otherwise, we come back to it again and we just use our brains. Now, what was it? I was supposed to not move the bow too much. Oh yeah, and put some weight in and make sure I'm under the piano and all this. And that is non-creative. It's not being a musician, it's not being an artist, it's just following directions. I've got all the directions down here, I should be able to do it. It was like, I remember sitting on a beach on holiday with a friend very many years ago with a book on windsurfing, and watching all the people learning to windsurf and saying, oh no, you see, they've got the foot in the wrong place. No, that's no good. Oh, no wonder they fell over, because the balance is built on that foot, not on this foot. And you know, I was the expert, because I read the book thoroughly. I was the expert windsurfer. And then after 5 days, we thought, you know what, maybe we should try it. Got on the windsurf, in the water, falling over, backwards, forwards. None of that information made any difference at all, because I didn't feel anything correctly until I got some sort of feel for it. Certainly got the feel of the water a lot. So we learn by the sense of feeling, so we remember. I mean, do you all remember the feeling on your face when the cloud moves and the sun hits your face? We all know that feeling so strongly. If you play and don't remember how it feels to play, you will not really remember how to play. And if you don't really remember, of course, you can't move on from that point. So when you play this way, try to feel how all of your senses, how the cello responds, the feelings in your hands, the feelings in your body, the feelings in the air around you, because that, when you feel it as strong as the sun on your face, you will learn really how to play that passage in a way that is seriously, absolutely inside of you. And that's a tall order. It's really, really hard to do that, but it's not hard, providing you take the approach that I'm not just trying to sort this out in my head, I am actually trying to feel how I make sound. Because in the end, how you make sound is all about how you feel, not about what you technically are supposed to do. So we're memorizing feeling. So the reason I stopped you, it went really well, but I wanted just to say this. Try to remember how it feels. And if you're not sure how it feels, do it again and really concentrate on that feeling, not just on the information. You have to have information and feelings. Okay, after that was beautiful. Remember just to keep the flow going. I think it's coming along that nicely. Also, I'd like to hear a little bit more whether you're happy or sad, whether you're, whether it's just nice or what it is. Can you just start from that point? Just make your point quite clearly, yeah? From there, please, yes. Good. Can I just ask you to try it again? Try it differently a little bit. You're playing. You're coming away there. I'd like you just to try something different, to see maybe how the phrase can move differently, just for your own discovery. Okay, good. The great thing is that you immediately do something different, which is excellent. Of course, now you need to reflect on that. You need to think about what are the qualities in that you enjoyed, that you liked, what you didn't like, and then make some decisions and move on. I quite like the fact that you're going wrong. That was just, for me, I felt more positive, you going up and then continuing in a way, breathing, continuing. That was just my feeling. Did you feel
something different? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's do one more time and continue again. Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about, where we're going with the bum bee dum bum ba ba da 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 dee dee dum. Because the beat, the pulse is always showing us where we tap our foot. Even when I'm singing, I'm tapping my foot just automatically. Bum bee dum bum ya da 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 dee dee dum. And if I do it the other way, dum bee dum bum ba da 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 dee dee, I feel a little bit like I've lost some pulse, when we definitely don't want to lose a pulse. We all know what happens when you don't have a pulse. So I think that's what's suggesting to me that we need an arrival point, and also a kind of a point where you do put your foot down on the ground in some way. And that's why my instinct was that it makes more sense. I mean, you don't have to exaggerate it, but it does feel like you're going with a natural sense of why did he put the beat there in the first place. Okay, one more time, I want you to think about the expression in the music and how this is your first statement of the melody and so on. And then you're going to have lots more variations and things to come on. So be careful that you don't say too much at this point, but enough to make us understand that the music is beautiful, obviously. Okay, sorry, I always have to interrupt in a way. First of all we have, which is a downbeat. And then the melody doesn't start. It doesn't start on the beat, it starts with an upbeat. Why is he suggesting so many upbeats? Because first of all, he wants us to know where the downbeat is, and also he wants to prepare us in a kind of gentle way for where the beat is. And it's the same note, isn't it? That's a very Beethoven-esque kind of thing, to consolidate something. Actually, we talked about this the other day, about repetition, repeated notes. What's the purpose of repetition? It's to consolidate, it's to say something, yes, yes, yes. And not just to say yes, 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 because repetition is really boring and it doesn't mean anything. When you write those words, when you say those words, it's in order to consolidate, it's in order to make your point. And Beethoven's making his point in some clear way. Otherwise, why didn't he just write very different feeling. So make sure you attach a great meaning to the idea of an upbeat. It goes back to, Bach. He starts always. Preludes start on the first beat, but then is the Allemande with an upbeat. Why does he create the upbeat? Why was it necessary to give an upbeat? Because it brings a new life, a new extra strength to the music. Okay, I think I've said enough. Try something, yeah? Yeah, and there are so many upbeats, it's unbelievable, aren't there? There's an upbeat. That's another one. Every single time is full of upbeats. And another thing that upbeat bring is like a intake of breath. Bam. And that intake of breath is giving us a kind of energy. We always have to realize that when we're phrasing and when we're creating this thing, it's all about what kind of energy we're using. This is information, of course. I'm using this because it's something that applies to all music. When you just have a downbeat, your upbeat and your breath in is very different. But bum beat is a kind of short up feeling. Okay, I'm sorry. Last time I promised you, and carry on. Yeah. Sorry. Interesting, there are no upbeats here, all downbeats. And I think you have to express that in that way. Don't underplay. Remember, you have to be strong. You have to be Beethoven. Even if you do the phrasing, even if you do the shapes, the sound, if you play this way, you're losing the character of Beethoven. You're losing the importance of the fact that there are so few notes. But if you underplay, you're undervaluing. So here's your upbeat, down. Important. Everything is important. Yes. And here now together. You have to breathe before you play together. We all enjoy music, the artists making music together. This is alone. Now here's your repeated notes. Yes, yes, yes. But together it's very, very strong, isn't it, when the two of you play together? Same place one more time. Okay, and this is real Beethoven. Surprise, we're stronger. And even the trill, which draws attention. I mean, decorations are to draw attention. I always say, if you have a decoration, if you want to be noticed, wear a fancy hat. If you don't want to be noticed, don't wear the fancy hat. Here's the fancy hats. Listen to everybody, listen to the extra resonance, listen to the pulsing. Yeah? And then what happens after that? We expect, but we don't get it. We get, that's absolutely pure Beethoven. And you have to push yourself as much as you can to be like that. Can you do the same place? Okay. So do you understand what I mean? We're really pushing the point all the time because it's Beethoven. Even here, you know, I don't feel that you should, he's not asking you to let us all off the hook. Beethoven didn't ever let anybody off the hook. It was serious stuff. So my feeling is that don't make it easy for us, because that's not Beethoven. Go right to the ends. Yes, finished. Now what's going to happen? And if you play, I'm exaggerating, but it's kind of not powerful enough in its beauty. Try once more and find a way of being strong right to the end of the last note. Yeah. Yes, and it's your bum, bum. Yes, I mean, he didn't have to do it, did he? He could have written yum. That would have been it. Why has he put that note there? Because it's important. If you play dum, that's like, almost like saying, I'm sorry, I didn't really mean to say that. But it is there, yeah. Last time, I promise you. Okay, well, it's all right. It can always be improved. So now, just take, because we unfortunately run out of time, of course, as usual. So what's your next move? What's going to happen next?
Take a moment of breathing.
Yes, take a moment to breathe. You've made your statement. What's your character? What's going to happen now? Show me. Okay, good, good. I preferred it now than when you first played it because it has a bit more strength. And he's writing Sforzando. Yeah, he's writing very extreme things already. But also there's a kind of tension which you did, but you can do more. Yeah? Don't rush, don't make it sound as though it's something insignificant, because you could play could be kind of just okay, very nice, thank you, but you only have a short time to say something important. So be careful with everything you do. And just to make one comment, I think bending the time around a little bit is something you did, but I feel that's like it's suggesting to me that you're making some kind of humorous side to it. Now, I don't feel that it is humorous. I still think it's very serious. It's full of surprises, and the main thing about this variation is it has enormous kind of, he's very proud, yeah? Just so there's this feeling of, yes, here's another character that's come onto the stage, and this is somebody like this. I am here. Take me seriously now, please, everybody. Yes. And I'm not going to suddenly do something silly in the middle of it. I'm going to be like this because I've only got a short time to make my point on the stage before somebody else comes on. Can you try? Yeah, that's what worries me, is that you suddenly take a turn and Beethoven never says, do something here. He says, keep going, doesn't he? He just shows the music continuing. And I think we really have to respect everything that the composer writes and also what they don't write. You know, composers don't create, like a sculptor, this fantastic head, really, really beautiful, and then think, you know what, I think I'll put an eye there afterwards, and maybe a nose. That's not how they create it. They create it with a vision of the entire profile, the detail, everything that is serious about it. And as musicians, we have to be really careful not to say, oh yeah, there's a head there, but you know what, I think I'll just bend the mouth a bit afterwards to make it smile. That's not our job. Our job is to respect every detail that's there, and if he says, put a smile in, you put a smile in. If he doesn't say, then you don't. Otherwise, you're saying, you know what, I think I know better what Beethoven really wanted than he did. Let's just not go there. So be very careful to be respectful in this respect, because tempo, dynamics, all these things are written in very, very carefully. They're part of the creation. And if he wants you to bend it, he will just say, pochissimo rallentando, or tenuto, or something that explains that he needs that. But he's not writing that now. He's asking you to be strong and to be strict. So I think we just have to be really careful how we put ourselves on the music. And, you know, the longer I play music, the more I understand that what's not written there is as important as what is written there. When he writes piano at the beginning of the sentence, that means piano. It doesn't mean, by the way, just do what you like in the middle. Not Beethoven. I mean, some composers leave you more space, but Beethoven was too strong a personality and too demanding to allow us to do those things. And I promise you, when you follow that direction really carefully, the music takes on much more profound sense of what it's about. And not about you, it's about really the great master. So I urge you to be really strict, especially Beethoven. Now he's going to go away and do whatever he wants to do, obviously, and what he learns from this. And that is right. You have to do what you feel. But just be very, very careful that what you feel is not above what is being written in the music. Try it one more time for me, really strict. Be Beethoven right through this variation. Okay, all right. I'm sorry that we don't have more time because there's so much to say in even just a short piece. There's so much to say about Beethoven, but thank you very much. Well done. Thank you.